Okay, so this can go either very good or very bad. I'm hoping. Okay, there we go. I'm hoping that it goes very good. But, we'll see. Okay, so I was thinking the movie would start off with Prince Charming doing the whole narration, at least like in the beginning. So we would basically start off the movie like a similar way to how Shrek the Third starts the movie. But instead, when he goes and cries because everyone booed him off the stage, we would see a figure in the shadows covered by a cloak. And their cloak would be blue, like the fairy godmother's dress is blue. Then they would throw out the fairy godmother's wand. Hello, Wolf. Thank you for joining the stream. They would throw out the fairy godmother's wand. Then the movie would cut to Shrek and Fiona before we can see what happens between Prince Charming and this cloaked figure. So once the movie gets to Shrek and Fiona, we would see them at the swamp. They would be having fun, spending time together, and they almost seem to be about to get intimate when we hear the sort of knocking and trumpet sounds from like the second movie. So Shrek says again. It opens the door and we see the same sort of messenger guy from the second movie. And he would say, "Oh, the king has fallen ill again. He requests your presence at once." And Shrek complains because they just got back home. They were just about to relax. Fiona, on the other hand, is worried because her father has been getting sick so often, and she's worried that he might die. Okay, I'm basically trying to rewrite Shrek the Third. So the movie would basically start off the same way the movie starts off in the original way, but instead Prince Charming would be approached by this cloaked figure who is wearing a blue cloak like the fairy godmother, and this cloaked figure would throw out the fairy godmother's wand. And then we would cut back to Shrek and Fiona, who are spending time in their swamp. And then they get their time interrupted by this messenger from the same one from the second movie, just to tie things in a little. So yeah. Anyway, continuing. So they would go back to Far, Far Away and visit the king, basically, the Fiona's dad, who was like, "Oh, I'm dying because as a frog I don't have a very long lifespan. Like, I'm lucky to have survived this long in general." And then he asks Shrek because Shrek is his son-in-law, to like sort of help take over the kingdom of Far Far Away alongside Fiona. And Shrek is just like, me be king? I can't be king. I'm an ogre. So the so the king would insist and be like, oh, Fiona's my only biological daughter, my only biological child. You're the only one. Like, we can even train you. So we would sort of get that montage of like Shrek trying to learn like the royal etiquette things before the king dies, sort of. But like, again, because Shrek is Shrek, he would sort of like ruin everything by accident, obviously. And the Shrek would like approach the dying Frog King and be like, hey, this isn't working. I don't think I can do this. I can't be king. Do you like have any sort of... You okay? Your voice sounds like you're losing it a little. I'm good. Does it? I don't know, maybe it's because I'm not used to talking a lot. I'm a very quiet person. Like, I generally don't ever talk. The funny thing is, I drank some water before coming live. So maybe I should take a drink of water. Maybe. You know what? I'll take a drink of water. This has been up like a few minutes. I'm good now. Okay, so Shrek would ask the king to get it. I'm also the quiet type. I'm only quiet when someone is talking to me. I'm quiet in general. Like, if someone is talking to me, I tend to be quiet. But even when someone isn't talking to me, I'm still quiet. Like, unless I'm directly, like, sort of asked a question or something interests me, I talk. Otherwise, I'm just like... So back to the sort of rewrite. So the king would say, well, I do have an adopted son. I adopted him in case Prince Charming failed to... hello KK Fire, thank you for joining and thank you for following. Hey, how are you doing? I'm good, and you? Okay, that's good. I am doing good too. That's good. Okay, so back to the rewrite. I love Shrek the Third. I don't really like it, the movie. Yeah, I know. I don't really like the movie. I think it's kind of childish and boring and annoying. But I mean, it's good that you enjoyed it at least. Personally, that's why I'm kind of free. I mean, it is a kids movie. I guess that's true. Like, I mean, the first two movies, even Shrek Forever After, was like better than Shrek the Third. Shrek the Third was like a dumpster fire, basically. Yeah, here they are making a Shrek 5. I heard that as well. I remember seeing like designs for the characters on Twitter, but I'm not sure if they're actually going to go through the movie or not. No, thank you for liking the stream. Anyways, getting back to the rewrite. Keep getting off track. Getting back to the rewrite. So the king would tell Shrek that he has this adopted son that he adopted in case Prince Charming failed to rescue Fiona. Basically, they adopted him, endeared him to the concept of family before sending him off to an academy in order to train him to become a strong and capable man. Just like, okay, what's the name of the academy? And the king would tell him the name of the academy, which in the movie it would be called Far Ways Academy for Gifted Students or something like that. I don't know. Just an idea. And so the king dies. We get a funeral with sort of somber music, and everyone's sad. Shrek doesn't immediately go, but so because he wants to stay to sort of comfort Fiona. When Fiona's doing a little better, he asks her to like mark on a map where the academy is. So Fiona marks it on the map, and Shrek prepares to leave. As he's leaving, we get the same scene of Fiona telling Shrek that she's pregnant. And Shrek sort of freaks out. And then Donkey's sort of like, hey, why are you freaking out? You know, this is great news. You're going to be a father. Like, I'm so happy to be a father. I love my children so much. And Shrek's just like, oh yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. And he gives like this awkward laugh. He would fall asleep. And instead of the nightmare sequence being like, oh, babies pee and poop a lot, he has this nightmare where he's like surrounded by fire, and we see a tall, dark, imposing figure looking at with glowing eyes, looking at him like he's lunch. The Shrek wakes up clutching his chest, looking around as if to make sure that nobody's watching him. Of course, we would cut back to Fiona, and since her mother found out that Fiona is pregnant, her mother decides to throw her a baby shower and invites other princesses, which is where we meet this movie's version of Rapunzel. While everyone is giving gifts, we would hear Rapunzel sort of make these snide, bitter comments. Like, and instead of the babysitter being Snow White's gift, it would be Rapunzel's gift. And Rapunzel would say, you know, to give you two more time to be intimate before he eventually meets someone hotter and younger and more attractive and abandons you for another woman. And Fiona can just like look oddly at Rapunzel. Then the movie would cut back to Shrek, who would arrive at the academy. And that's where he meets the adopted son of the king, who in this version would be 10 years old, would be a 10-year-old child. It's like, oh, hey, do you know the king? It's like, oh, yeah, he's my dad. Why? What do you ask? It's like, oh, he's the. It's just like, what? No! We would sort of see the kid, like, initially want to, like, fight Shrek, thinking that Shrek killed him. It's just like, okay, I didn't kill the guy. He died of natural causes. And then thank you, Mr. Malone, for joining the stream. And then we would see the kid sort of then Shrek would tell the kid, like, hey, what's your name? And it's like, Jack. And it's like, and Trish like, Jack? As in Jack the Giant Slayer? It's like, oh yeah, that old tale. I slayed a giant last year. You know, it was kind of an accident, but it proves that I. Anyway, what if Shrek leaned after doing a ton of well, anyways? What fent? Oh, I think you meant fart. I don't know what you're talking about. No, I meant fent. Google fentanyl. Okay, I'll do it later. Eventually. And then the kid would be like, oh, I killed the giant, and it was on accident, but it proves that I will be a strong warrior who will save my sister. It's like, they really did. And Shrek would be like, they really did something to you, kid. Well, let's get you back to far, far away. And so they would journey back to far, far away, and we would see a small scene of like the villains being united by Prince Charming, kind of like in the original, but afterward we would see Prince Charming approach the cloaked figure. He would be like, hey, I told them everything you told me to say. How worst part is I'm playing Life is Strange 2 while listening. That's fine. Hey, what? Why are you crying? Stop crying, okay? Stop being an annoying baby. I'm talking to my dogs right now. One of my dogs is always whining because he likes attention. Sorry, I just burped. I finished having breakfast like not too long ago, so yeah. And so the figure tells Prince Charming, like, oh, you did good. Now all that's left is to wait for the ogre to arrive at far, far away. Need to go. I am hungry. Bye. Goodbye, Wolf. Thank you for joining. Uh, so Shrek arrives at Far, Far Away. But no, Shrek wouldn't immediately arrive. I want to make a scene for that. So they are traveling to Far, Far Away, and Shrek and Jack would be talking. So we would hear Jack explain why he loves his family so much. He would be like, "Oh, my father adopted me after my mother sold me for a cow to get milk and feed herself for life. And he took care of me, and he was the one who taught me that family always sticks together." I don't know why that made me laugh. I guess it's because I thought of fucking, what was his name? Dominic Toretto? Family. Anyway. Shrek's just like, "Oh, well, that's nice." And then Jack would get annoyed and be like, "You're just a monster. What would you know about loving your family?" It's just like, and Shrek sort of gets annoyed, and he's just like, "You do know I'm married to your sister, right?" And then Jack's has a completely horrified face, just like, "You, a monster, married to my sister? Impossible. She was supposed to be married to Prince Charming." It's just like, "Oh, well, I saved her first." And then the kid would start accusing Shrek of brainwashing Fiona. So Shrek would be like, yeah, let's get some rest here. It's getting late. We're almost that far, far away, so it's fine if we take a break now so that we can have the energy to arrive there tomorrow. While they're resting, they would get kidnapped by witches. As they're getting kidnapped, we would see the kingdom of Far, Far Away get attacked and destroyed by the villains of the storybooks. Then we would see Prince Charming enter the castle where Fiona and the other princesses are. And he would find them. Be like, "Okay, I'll make you all a deal. I will capture one of you in exchange for the rest of you to stay alive. One of you will serve as my queen." So we see Rapunzel be like, "I'll do it. I'll sacrifice myself." We would see Fiona sort of telling her, "No, don't do it." Then Rapunzel says, "Oh, consider it my apology for being so rude. It's just ever since my prince abandoned me, I've been very sad. But it wasn't anyone's fault but his. So go, be free, find a way to overthrow him. I believe in you." So And she would go and hug Prince Charming and tell him that she will be his queen, while the rest sort of try to flee, only to be stopped by witches. Then Prince Charming said, I said I would keep you alive. I never said that I would let you free. Then Prince Charming takes Rapunzel away, while the witches imprison Fiona, her mom, and the princesses. Now it would be Fiona to break them out of jail. Be like, we have to overthrow him. Rapunzel sacrificed herself just to help us, so now we must help her. And we would cut back to Shrek, Jack, Donkey, and Puss in Boots in jail. And Puss in Boots is just like, okay, I have a plan. I'll open the jail door. You distract them while I'm opening it. Then we knock the guards out and run. So they would try to distract the guards while Puss unlocks the jail door. Then Shrek would knock the guard unconscious and run. However, almost everywhere they go, there's witches, there's villains. It seems that there's no place safe in far, far away. So they decide to hide out within the darks. We would see them trying to plan and plot, figure out how to get out of the situation, so to speak. So then Jack's like, I'll fight them. And Shrek's just like, no, you're just 10. You didn't even kill a giant on purpose. You did it on accident. You cannot do this on your own. You are a child. And then Jack would get angry and he would sort of yell at Shrek. Shrek would be like, listen, I know you're just acting tough because you're scared deep down inside. I would know. My father tried to eat me. And we would sort of get this flashback to his nightmare. Except that the fire would light up the dark figure to show someone who looks similar to Shrek, but a bit older and taller. And Shrek's just like, I know what it's like to be afraid, to want to act tough for the sake of your survival. But you're not tough. You're just a child. A scared, vulnerable, lonely child trying to survive in this world. And then we would hear the witches sort of announce to the citizens of Far, Far Away, if you bring us the ogre, we will let you free. So Shrek decides to sort of turn himself in, kind of like in Shrek Forever After, but slightly different. He would still sort of do the same thing of like telling the child character that he's not needed, he's not necessary, he's useless, he's weak, yada yada yada. But this time, Jack would know that it's an act. And so, Jack would secretly follow where they're taking Shrek and sort of hide out nearby while planning with Puss in Boots on what to do. Eventually, they would see Fiona and the princesses alongside with the queen, or Fiona's mom in this case. And Jack would instantly recognize Fiona's mom. It's just like, Mother! It's like, and the Fiona's mom would recognize Jack and be like, Jack! Oh, thank goodness you're safe. I was worried. Are you okay? It's like, yes. Shrek, he turned himself in to protect me. Fiona's like, Shrek did? Then Jack would look at her and she's like, are you my sister? But why do you look so much like the monster? Then Fiona would tell him that because of her curse, when Shrek kissed her, she assumed his form rather than human form. It's just like, so Shrek wasn't lying to me when he said that he saved you before Prince Charming could? It would tell him, no, he was being honest. Then Jack would think about what Shrek said about him pretending to be tough to survive in the world. It's just like, yes, he was being honest. Jack would say, we have to save him. And so they bust in on the sort of play that Prince Charming set up, like in the original. But this time, the cloaked figure is there. While Prince Charming is sort of giving his speech, the cloaked figure would take out their sword and point it at Shrek and say, you were fortunate to have been happy for so long. Now it's time for you to suffer. Just then, just as the cloaked figure is about to strike Shrek through the heart, someone throws something at the cloaked figure. The cloaked figure jumps back to see the princesses, Fiona's mom, Jack, Puss in Boots, and Donkey there. It's just like, and the cloaked figure just says, oh, so you've come. I expected your arrival. Then the cloaked figure would take off their cloak, revealing Rapunzel. Dun dun dun. Then Fiona's shocked. She's like, Rapunzel? But I thought you were on our side. And Rapunzel was just like, how can I be on your side when you and your husband caused my greatest suffering? And Fiona's just like, what are you talking about? Are you blaming us for your prince abandoning you? She's just like, yes, I blame you because while you two were fighting the fairy godmother, this happened. And she goes up to her hair and pulls off her wig, revealing her baldness. She says, I was struck by the fairy godmother's magic, making my long natural hair turn into a wig and causing me to go bald. I've tried treatment after treatment. The magic of this caliber cannot be reversed unless the fairy godmother were to come back to life. And because of my baldness, my prince, the one who rescued me from my tower, abandoned me. It is your fault. You and that ogre caused me to suffer, and now I will return your suffering. And so the villains and the witches would start attacking Fiona. They would, her mom, the princesses, Puss, Jack, all of the characters. Shrek would try his best to protect them all, but they're outnumbered. And okay, this is where it's getting difficult. How do I write the ending? This is just off of the top of my head, mind you. I did not pre-write anything. This is all off of the top of my head. Which is why the title is Attempting to Rewrite Shrek the Third. Not actually rewriting it because I would have had some sort of script. But no. I am trying to do this off of the top of my head. Okay. So they would be outnumbered. And so, so they would be outnumbered, and they would all be chained up. Then we would get a monologue from Rapunzel, or this movie's version of Rapunzel. She would be like, you naive fools. It was I who was the mastermind all along. I orchestrated this all. I manipulated Prince Charming. I knew that his handsome face would get many people to follow him. And many people did, in fact, follow him when he spouted out my ideas. But now, it's your time to die. And Jack would be like, wait. And Rapunzel would get annoyed, be like, what do you want, child? Jack would be like, I know what it's like to be abandoned. My mother sold me for a cow. And we would see Rapunzel sort of hesitate. It's just like, and then Jack would repeat. He would repeat Shrek's words, being like, you're not tough. You're just pretending to be tough. to survive in this world. Killing us won't make you happy. Rapunzel would growl. Shut up! Shut up! While doing that, Shrek snaps his chains off and goes towards the dragon. Snaps her chains off. While they're outnumbered, they're no match against a fire-breathing dragon. But the dragon would all have a muzzle, and so Shrek would have to take off her muzzle. So the dragon would eat Rapunzel, just like how she ate Lord Farquaad in the first movie. She would smack the witches and the villains, and destroy the sort of area where they were going to kill Shrek and the others. The area is destroyed. Rapunzel is dead now, basically. And Prince Charming goes to jail alongside the witches and the villains. Then we would get like a heartfelt moment with Fiona and Shrek. Shrek like admits to her, my dad tried to eat me when I was a child, and I'm terrified that I will be just like him. Then Fiona tells him, you're not like him, because you saved my brother. And that proves you're not like him. They would kiss, and that would be the end. So, how did I do? Let me know. Okay, I'm gonna go now because my throat kind of hurts from talking so much. So yeah, bye!